How's it going, everybody? It's me, Shane. I'm here to give you another Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation episode review. It's season 2, episode 17, My Older Brother's Feelings. And before I go any further, please hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you can get notified of more reviews just like this one. And if you want to support me even further, my Patreon link is in the description below. I truly appreciate you all. So, this title, and it took until I started writing out my notes here to realize, oh, it's not just Norn, it's Rudeus. Now, we don't really know what Rudeus' name was when he was in what would seemingly be our world, right? Although, you know, in our world, you don't get isekai that we know of. And it's about his older brother. It's about her older brother, which is him. And what I've been saying from get-go, y'all, all about trauma. Rudy, remember, she was shut in at the end of the last episode. You could tell she was shut in. And very, very nice that Persinia and, was it Linnea? Linnea and Persinia, they're both the ones that went and told him about this. And Rudy takes this very serious. And the crazy thing is, for as intelligent as he lets his trauma sometimes turn him stupid, and it's very obvious that they are definitely Paul's kids. And when he stormed into the classroom, and it's crazy because his scowl is so deep that as he's passing people, teachers and students alike, everyone's afraid, and even Persinia's like, maybe we should just leave him alone because, you know, I'm actually scaring me right now. And he gets in his classroom. He's like, look, there's a new girl here. That's my sister. She shut in. Obviously, someone did something. Who did it? And in his mind, you know, he's like, you know, I'm not angry. We're just going to go and just apologize to her. And he's thinking, I'm going to tear him limb from limb. And one girl's like, well, when I talked to her, she, you know, just said she seems normal, unlike you. And he's like, And everyone else is kind of remembering the same thing. And then the teacher, she's like, well, I did give her an assignment. He jumped straight to, oh, and then you stripped her naked and put her in the faculty. And he's like, what? Of course not. I just told her, you know, she didn't do well. And I just told her, you know, she'll get the hang of it. She'll study hard like you did. And it's dawning on him that the problem is him. He is the problem. Hi, me. I'm the problem. It's me. And it's one of those things where, and I don't know if any of you have experienced this. I don't know if I've experienced this. I kind of experienced this in a negative way, but I won't even get into that. But where you have not even a parent, you have a relative, you have someone who's done crazy cool stuff, amazing stuff, and you're constantly compared to them. And at least that's how it seems on the Rudy side. We will get to the Norn side. It's like, you know, he's done all this stuff and everyone's just but like, yeah, you're gonna be great like your brother, or this like your brother. And he's like, she's being reminded and told that she's like the person who she doesn't even like me. And we do get flashes of his old self, very much up to date. I think it's up to date. I don't remember if it was drawn exactly like this, but if it was, still looks good. 3 years later, still looks really good. And he's trying to figure it out. And hats off to the women in his life, man, because the Beast Girls and Sylphie are gonna help him out with this. As a matter of fact, Princess Ariel was able to distract most of the girls getting out of the dorm. Persinia distracts another girl while Linnea gets him in there so he can get to the dorm and talk to her, because Sylphie tried to talk to Norn and it didn't work, right? And we get a nice flashback from Rudy remembering when he first came shut in. And I wrote down the things that his brother said to him, right? Let me get rid of this, because I was definitely going off when Rudy was saying some of that crazy shit. It's great that I hate to say it's great that he's been through this, but he is a great example of a person who has been through a trauma and refuses to let others go through it. I'm pretty sure most of us here have seen people, namely adults, that go, well, I went through that and look how great I am. And then you look at him and go, yeah, you got a lot of shit going on. So let's not go there. Your duty, our duty as people should be, oh man, I went through that. Let me make sure no one else go through that, especially if you have kids or if you're raising kids, or you're helping raise children. You don't want other people to have gone through what you've gone through. And what he has done is sprung quickly into action. Now, when the Beast Girls are saying, well, we'll drag her out, we'll make sure she gets to class because you need education. And Rudy's like, here's the thing, that doesn't work, right? He knows firsthand it doesn't work because she's not in there without a good reason. No one wants to stay holed up in their room. He used the word shut in his mind with his quote unquote, I was going to say real voice, but his old voice. No one goes and says, I'm just going to shut myself in my room. No one wants to do that. So she's in there for a reason. And that's how we came to the conclusion of him going in there to see her. Now, the flashback that he has of his old self, his brother's coming in talking to him. And, he's just kind of laying down. And he's saying that, he says towards the end of the string of things his brother said, right? Here we go. That he didn't even argue. He just kind of ignored him, right? And his brother hit him with all sorts of common sense arguments, and I wrote my notes. That doesn't work. As a person who has degrees in psychology and some counseling training, you can't do that. That's common sense arguments don't really work. And this is me talking to you. Someone's coming to you to talk to you, saying things like, there are people out there who have it worse. It's one of the worst things you could ever say to somebody. Like, we all understand that there are people out there who have it worse and that's the thing. But all of us go through a struggle, and our struggles, might be here compared to others. They might be here compared to others, but you never start with that. Now, if he would have said, man, it could have been worse, at least you're here with me. That's a good step, right? But going, man, other people have it worse. What else he say? He said it might hurt now, but if you run, you'll never stop running away. And I'm like, that's a bit better. There's truth in that one, right? And we see a day and night cycle as he's repeating the things that his brother had said to him. He's like, you don't have to go back to school right away. He says it's going to hurt more if you keep running away, right? He's like, you don't have to go back to school right away. For now, let's go get something to eat. And he was mentally split on all of it, right? And he just convinced himself that somebody like his brother could know how he feel. And his brother left. Once his brother left, his brother never came back. And Rudy knows now that if he turns away, he won't be able to come back. So he's there at first, and then he starts kneeling, and then, he stands up again. Now, Rudy makes a tight fist a lot of times. And in anime, and I love how this is done. And a lot of times in anime, when someone makes that fist, it's like, I'm gonna hit you. Or on Arthur, the Arthur meme, when he made that fist and he socked the shit out of DW because she deserved it. Here, he makes a fist out of frustration because he doesn't know what else to do. And we've seen him do that before. It's not, I'm going to hit you. It's, I wish I knew what to do. And now when we're going to go over to the Norn perspective, right? But one thing I have to note is he says Anarchy, which is another way of saying Big Brother. And he says Big Brother, not in the voice on the inside. He says it out loud in the Rudeus voice, which is like, damn, that's hitting him. Trauma is so strong. If you get a chance of having 2 lifetimes, it'll still haunt you in the second one. And so, I'm not gonna lie, the way that Norn has been structured has been to make me not like her. Now, I don't know if that was on purpose, so that when this episode hits, it just makes you go, oh, damn, I get it. But even through this, she flashing back to, like, when she first met him, he had hit their father, the same father who loved her more than anything. She's being, and there's a bit of selfishness on her perspective, right? There's a bit of selfishness here, because when we see that flashback, you see the bump on the side of Rudy's face because his dad hit him, and there's a reason why no one else is stopping Rudy from hitting him. Because if I remember correctly, while he's being punched, Paul puts his hand up because Paul can take it. He can take the punches from his kid. Hate to say kid, but he can take the punches from his son. He's like telling him, because this is after Rudy had been putting on airs, I hate to say a farce, but he was basically making it seem like he's been having a cool, easy time because he didn't want Paul to worry, because they're already trying to, find other people. And then Paul took it the wrong way and says, well, I'm out here having fun. You're doing this, this, and this. And so Rudy clapped back. He like, well, you couldn't be looking for her too hard. You got her over here. And that's the girl who wore the skimpy outfit to deflect from her sister because her sister got assaulted. So, Rudy then just blurts out all the stuff he's been through. Pow, pow. Punch it, punch, punch, punch. Eventually they do talk it out, which here, she's like, she hated him from that moment forth. I'm just like, you dumb. Your dad hit him first. He retaliated. I'm glad Rudy threw hands. Those 2 episodes where Rudy fights him, and then you have Eris come in and hug him, and then the whole making up part and her having his back. Those are 2 of the best episodes. I think that was season 1, part 2. 2 of the best episodes by far. And she did stop him. She couldn't possibly accept him as a brother. And next time she sees him, he's with a drunken woman. It's right after the party with Nana Hoshi trying to make her feel better. So he's carrying his wife, and he's like, he looks super happy as content as can be, and as our father's frantically searching for mother. And of course we see Aisha run up and hug her brother, and she just looks back and frowns at Norn, who's just hiding. She doesn't remember when she started to fear him. It's probably the moment he beat the shit out your dad. And I hate the way she thinks in here, right? Just that whole, our dad's frankly searching, you're having a good time. Nah, he's doing everything he can. This dude went through 3 years of ED because the first woman he was on with, the one who he actually loved, who he had a first for, they both had a first for, and doesn't know why she's gone. He's just broken. I wish Ruger would have been there, because he definitely would have fixed all this. But she's scared she's gonna get kicked out. She's like, it's so cold here. And I'm like, why would you think they're gonna kick you out? So we get to that scene before. Remember when I told you when she has to stay in the dorms and he's thinking, and I'm like, she shows no emotion toward her other sister crying because she's like, oh, you let her get her away because she's your full sister, and I'm just a concubine sister. But what we see in this entire episode is more emotion, where he's thinking, because we're not on his mind now, we're in her mind. He goes, all right, you can stay in the dorms. She's shocked. She's like, wait, he's letting me get my way. He doesn't think it's bad. And she doesn't hear the conversation going over there, but she has a shocked look, and then she instantly deadpans because she goes, oh, well, maybe it's better this way because maybe I'm in the way. And when she thinks that, it's causing that. When a lot of times some people have anxiety, you physically feel it, and she physically feels that anxiety. And she's like, maybe he's not interested in me. I'm like, you asked for this though. And it's so weird that she is experiencing the same things that Rudeus did in his previous life. So they really are related. I guess that blood just, he was reborn. That blood just splintered off everywhere, right? And then we get to the point when she introduced herself to the classroom, and they're like, Greyrat, you related to? Dang, your brother's great. I wish I had a brother like you. Oh, he must be teaching you magic, right? Well, he would teach her magic if she would actually talk to him. And 2 students come up to her and say, hey, your brother taught us magic one time. Tell him we said thank you. And she's just like, why is everyone gaga over him? And you got one girl that's just like, well, can you do this? And she can't. There's like, oh, okay, well, you're different. And we see the scene with the teacher where she failed the assignment, and the teacher's like, don't worry, you just got here. I'm pretty sure you'll be like your brother and you'll work hard and you'll bounce back. It is so innocent what that teacher said. That's why the perspective, I'm so glad we get to see the perspective of things, because just saying these things to Rudy, it makes everything seem horrible and seem worse, and it's really not. By the way, there's a bird girl who's her roommate who asks about her brother, and in her mind she says things like, I don't know, I don't want to know, I don't this, I don't that, and it's like she's putting up walls, right? And one of the walls, when they met up again and she's looking back and Rudy's smiling, Luke is taking her to the classroom. And he's like, I'm sure you're curious about your brother and the princess. I assure you, he's probably just saying they're not an item. They're just friends. And she's like, I don't want to know. It was pissing me off. And, oh, by the way, the other students in here, I love the variation of beast people. Maybe some of them are demons. Like there's another dog beast girl. There's a deer-headed person who's like, I got to talk to him one time, and she hears that. And we're at the same where she sees the beast girls bullying the other girls for their panties, and then we see that she's now here where Rudeus is like scolding them, and you see the beast girl scowling at her because she's just staring, because she's like, wow, do these people see in him what I don't see? And Rudy looks back, realizes it's her, and just, he has a soft look. And now, and I even wrote him, like, because he's not a complete asshole. Rudy is a bit of an asshole, but he's not a complete one. And she starts having a panic attack. And when she thinks back when she was smaller, and her father was saying, she was saying she hates him. And he's like, no, he's had it rough too. And she's like, I didn't understand what my father was saying at the time because I was younger, but I think I get it. Right. And maybe he's not the kind of person I think he is. And then we go to when she was with Rucher and she's crying. He's like, what's wrong? Because everyone's encampment. What's wrong? And she's like, I want to go back with my dad. And he's like, you hate your brother that much? And she's like, mm-hmm. And hold on. Oh man, I gotta touch on that. So when she's talking to RJ, he's like, he's not the kind of person you think he is. Strong, clever, and a warrior worthy of respect. And before, when she's wondering, she's thinking about Rudy and her dad. She goes, what did they do to make up? I don't know. No one's here to help me. She even thinks before, remember when I said when they first rejoined with him and Aisha was hugging him, he was carrying Sylphie. She thinks no one here cares about me. And that is the anxiety, and that trauma will fuck you over, man, because it will make you think shit that's not true. Because then she gets a flash. Remember when his rules, he says, because I worry, come back because I worry. And she did say she didn't get it, but he's like, one day you will, right? Your family, you can mend things. And he's patting her on the head. RJ's good with the kids, right? And so when she's about to speak, she calls him Oni-san, but he stops. He says, I'm sorry, Norn, I'm sorry. I guess you've had it rough since you got here. You got a fresh start, and it turned like this because of me. And she's showing much more emotion. She's gasping. She's looking. And he's like, I don't know what to say. I don't really know you. Even after all this, I don't know what I should do. And that's when she pulled back the curtain and she sees drunk Paul, when they were in that city and they were just stopping people from smuggling other people, with the Rudy punch before he shaved and got back to being Paul. She saw Paul and then saw Rudy, who's like looking at her, and he kind of looks down. And that's such good storytelling without saying it, because he is in the same position that Paul was in. He doesn't know what to do. All he knows is that he can't run. Again, the thing that Ruger said, RJ said to her, your dad didn't run, he's not gonna run, so don't you run, Norn, right? And Rudy's in tears. She's blinking tears, and he says to her, as he's making a fist, he's saying, I'm here for you. I won't go away. I'll see you for who you are. So do you mind if I stay? And then, everybody started crying. I started crying. And she's like, I know he won't hit me. I know he won't hit Dad anymore. And she doesn't finish her statement, but she's sobbing on him now. And the next day, everything's better. She's saying good morning to him, good morning to Sylphie. She seems much more cheerful. And he's like, I guess she's doing well. And now he's thinking of his brother. He's like, she's amazing because unlike me in my previous life, she was able to sort herself out and get through it. Not true. You don't realize that you just being there. And I tell you all this at the end of all my videos. I hope y'all make it to the end of the videos. I always tell you, if someone reaches out for you, there's people who will talk to you. And he doesn't realize that just him being the first one to make that step. Sometimes you got to be the first one to make the step and reach out to somebody. He doesn't realize just being there actually helps. And she did do something better than him and from his previous life, because she was able to latch on to that and just pull out. And he's thinking like, man, if I would have just pulled myself out of it. He's thinking about what if, and so he slaps himself on the face. And Sylphie's like, before he did it, she said, you okay? He slaps himself in the face. He's like, no, I'm good. He's like, no point in thinking about the past. What's done is done. And she's thinking, she says out loud, and you seem like you're doing better too. And he's like, whenever Nanaho, if she ever gets back to our old world, he's gonna give her a letter to give to his brother to say, this about to get me a little bit, saying, I'm sorry for back then and thank you. And this comes in lieu of him saying, I got to thank the Beast Girls, and then they're going to thank Ariel. Who else going to thank? He thanks Sylphie, obviously, but they're going to thank everyone that helped him get, be able to get to her so he could take care of her. Because remember, boys aren't allowed in the dorm room, and you had an angry hippo lady trying to beat him up before. And that made me cry too. It's just like, she was struggling with her feelings of the past, and that's a thing that happens every day. We just don't realize it. Your perception of something from a long time ago, you could be like, that was horrible, that was the worst, or you could be like, that was the greatest moment. And when you are face to face going, oh, that person, that thing wasn't as bad as I thought it was, or that thing, that person, that event wasn't as good as I thought it was, your mind is at a conflict. Your heart is conflicted because you don't know how to process that. And there's a lot to it. It can be a lot to process. And I'm happy that in one episode, I say one episode because it kind of took one episode. Passage of time in this show, man. It passes the time basically like a book, just like a book. But it took what? Pretty sure they told him after 2 days. So it took like under a week to figure all this out and to try to sort this out. It took about a week for her to go through all that shit, right? So just the struggle, those internal struggle going like, I hate him, but damn, do I? Is he really the person who I think he is? And that can be a good or a bad thing in real life. We all know that. And it's just, I'm happy that she was able to see that he was hurting as well. It seems like those who are actually really close to him can tell that dude's hurting. The Beast Girls, his classmates, the family that he has also gathered on this journey. We just got to come back to, we got to get Eris back, man. That old intro with the red bird, get that red bird back, man. Next episode is called Turning Point 3. I'm going to remind you that Turning Point 1 was the mass teleportation incident that took Rudy and Eris into the demon continent where Rudeus had found them and protected them, where everything was going great. They were training. The family loved him. He was teaching people to read and write. He was learning how to fight and do more stuff. And then Turning Point 2 was when they were on that snowy mountain pass and Rudeus died again because he found Orsted. One of the best animated things ever, and Eris screaming her heart out for someone to just save him, please. So Turning Point 3 is probably going to have that kind of gravitas. I don't know if I'm emotionally ready for it. But I'm gonna have to be, because on top of that coming out, Demon Slayer is coming out next week too. Next week on Mother's Day. Happy Cinco de Mayo, by the way. So yeah, this episode definitely gets a 5 out of 5. I have to give it a 5 out of 5. I'm gonna give it a golden 5 out of 5. I gotta find a rating that I call when it goes above. Because is it cliche to say 6 out of 5? Maybe I should say 10 out of 5, just to show how great it is. Because I give you credit for me being like Norn is worst sister. I should still best sister, but Norn being worst sister, me just being annoyed with her, going through her feelings in her own mind, and me still going, you, and then going, you, and going, you. It's good job, great job. That's how you do it. That's how you write it. And the non-verbal things, chef's a kiss. So until I come up with a more permanent thing, that this golden 5 out of 5, just really great episode. Season 2 is just, man, this series is really good. So let me know what you thought of the episode in the comment section down below. Are you a fan of Norn now? If you weren't, have you always been a fan of Norn? Do you understand what I'm saying when I talk about all this trauma stuff? Sometimes the best episodes are the ones that have no fighting, but has all of the internal interpersonal conflicts. That's just the good stuff there. Leave me a comment down below. Don't forget to hit that like button. It really actually does help. Subscribe and hit that notification bell. That should be right there. Unless you're widescreened it, and it's probably right over here. So that way you can be notified of more anime reviews just like this one, guys. I thank you for taking some time out to listen to me talk. So please be good, be blessed. Wash those hands. Get you some water. I'm about to get me some water right now. Make sure that you stay safe out there. Be good to yourselves. Be good to others. Either way it goes. Please don't be a jerk, okay? All right? And remember, like I said earlier, reach out to someone if you're feeling down, you're feeling any kind of way, you don't understand what to do. Make sure you reach out to somebody. And make sure if you're the person someone reaches out to, I hope you are open and you stick there with them, because there are people who would rather, and I know you would rather, talk to somebody today than to miss and mourn them tomorrow. And they would rather talk to you today than to miss and mourn you tomorrow. So make sure you reach out to somebody, all right? My social media is in the description below. Send me a message. Don't be a jerk and we'll be A-okay. Don't forget that Patreon link is in there as well, so you want to support me further. I appreciate it. Until next time, I'm gonna have to deal with the double gut punch of Turning Point 3 and the opening of Demon Slayer season. What was this, 3? I guess this is 3. I still consider Mugen Train 2, but the next season, Demon Slayer, oh boy, next Sunday is gonna be packed. Happy Cinco de Mayo. Celebrate responsibly. I'll see you next time.